Have you ever stopped to think about how your daily attitudes may be affecting your spiritual energy? Often, without realizing it, we adopt behaviors that act as holes in our protective shield, leaving us vulnerable to negative energies and emotional imbalances. Today, we'll explore 8 toxic practices that may be undermining your spiritual protection and how you can identify them in your life. Constantly feeding negative thoughts hour. Mind is like a garden. What we sow is what we reap. When we spend the day ruminating on negative thoughts, complaints, and excessive worries, we are literally creating a toxic internal environment. These thoughts act as magnets for dense energies and drastically lower our spiritual vibration. Think of your mind as a house. If you constantly leave the door open to unwanted visitors, you can't be surprised when they show up. Chronic pessimism creates cracks in our defenses, allowing negative energies to find a way to affect us. The solution isn't to force toxic positivity, but rather to develop awareness of our mental patterns and choose, whenever possible, to direct our attention to more constructive perspectives. Maintaining toxic relationships and energy vampirism. There are people who, consciously or unconsciously, drain our vital energy. They're the ones who constantly stir up drama, create unnecessary conflict, constantly complain, or leave you feeling drained after every interaction. Maintaining these relationships out of obligation, fear, or guilt is one of the quickest ways to weaken your spiritual protection. Every time you interact with someone toxic, it's like opening a tap on your life force. Over time, you become vulnerable, tired, and more susceptible to physical and emotional illness. Setting healthy boundaries isn't selfish, it's spiritual self-care. This doesn't mean abandoning everyone at the first sign of difficulty, but rather recognizing when a relationship is causing more harm than good. Neglecting physical and emotional self-care, your body is the temple of your soul, and neglecting it is a direct attack on your spiritual protection. Poor sleep, poor nutrition, lack of exercise, and ignoring signs of stress are practices that weaken not only your physical body but also your energy field. When we're physically exhausted, our ability to maintain a strong auric field diminishes significantly. It's like trying to keep a candle lit during a storm. Possible, but extremely difficult. Taking care of your body through adequate sleep, nutritious food, movement, and relaxation are not luxuries. They are basic spiritual necessities. Living in the past or the future, constant anxiety about the future, or painful attachment to the past are practices that dissipate our spiritual energy. When we live outside the present moment, we create gaps in our protection. The past is gone. The future is not yet here. The only moment where we truly have power is now. This disconnection from the present makes us vulnerable because our consciousness is fragmented. Part of us is reliving old hurts. Another part is anticipating future catastrophes, and very little remains anchored in the here and now. Cultivating presence through practices such as meditation, conscious breathing, and mindfulness tremendously strengthens our spiritual protection. Excessively consuming negative content. We live in an age of information overload, and not all information is nourishing for our soul. Spending hours consuming tragic news, gossip, and violence on television or social media contaminates our energy field. It's like bathing in a polluted river and expecting to emerge clean. Every image, word, and story we consume leaves an impression on our subconscious. When we fill our minds with negative content, we lower our vibrational frequency and weaken our natural defenses. This doesn't mean ignoring reality, but rather being selective about what we allow into our mental and emotional space. Practicing backbiting and judging gossip, malicious criticism, and constant judgment of others create a vicious cycle of negative energy. When we speak negatively about others, we are actually sending low vibrations out into the universe, which inevitably bounce back to us. It's like throwing mud in the air. It always falls back down. Every word carries energy, and words used to hurt, diminish, or judge others create holes in our own spiritual protection. Furthermore, we place ourselves on the same energetic frequency as the person we criticize. Cultivating compassion, empathy, and the practice of speaking well, or not speaking well, about others raises our vibration and strengthens our spiritual shield. Ignoring your intuition and inner voice. Your intuition is your spiritual compass, and repeatedly ignoring it is a form of energetic self-harm. How many times have you felt something wasn't right, but ignored it? How many times has your inner voice whispered a warning that you chose not to heed? Every time we silence our intuition, we weaken our connection to spiritual wisdom and become more vulnerable to situations and people that don't serve our highest good. Learning to listen to and trust our inner signals strengthens our natural defenses. Your intuition exists to guide and protect you. Honoring it is honoring your own spiritual essence. Neglecting regular spiritual practices, just as a house needs regular cleaning, our spiritual energy requires constant maintenance. Completely abandoning practices that connect us to something greater, whether meditation, prayer, contact with nature, gratitude, or any meaningful ritual, leaks our spiritual protection. It's not about following rigid dogmas, but about cultivating moments of connection with your essence. Even 5 minutes a day of silence, conscious breathing, or gratitude can make a significant difference. These practices reinforce our energy field, keeping it strong and resilient against negative influences. Conclusion: recognizing these toxic practices in our lives is the first step to transforming them. No one is perfect, and we all engage in some of these behaviors at some point. The important thing is to develop awareness and make choices more aligned with our spiritual well-being. Remember, your spiritual protection is not fixed, but a dynamic field that responds directly to your daily choices. Tend to it with love and intention,